This is ESPN on ABC.
Welcome to ABC College Football, presented by Starbucks. You're watching the ACC on ESPN. Great day for football here in the Steel City and Miami, right on the college football playoff bubble. They must win today to keep their hopes alive. They take on a Pitt team, though, that upset Georgia Tech last week on the road. And Pitt still a slim chance to make the college football playoff, and why not? It has been that kind of year in the ACC. 9 upsets of top 20 teams by unranked opponents, most among all conferences. And that means we come into this final week of the regular season with 6 teams alive to reach the ACC championship game, including Pitt and Miami. Virginia and SMU control their destiny. But we have learned this year in this league to expect the unexpected. Bob Wischusen here with Lewis Riddick. Chris Budden is along as well. And why not? Why would we not think there'll be some upsets this week and maybe a surprise team in the ACC title game? It could be one of these two.
It absolutely could. But the thing that these two teams can control is their own performances here today. Both of these teams need some help in order to ultimately get to where they want to get to. But for the Miami Hurricanes, when you're talking about the college football playoff, they have to win today. They have to win convincingly. For the Pitt Panthers, it's about really inclusion in the ACC title game. They know they have to win, get some help here today, and maybe they can find themselves playing for a conference title. Both teams have dynamic quarterbacks. Carson Beck has just been on a heater really for the past month. He is making plays with his legs, making good decisions in the passing game, throwing the football with accuracy. Mason Heinzel, he's been one of the most dynamic freshman quarterbacks in all of college football, and he has really infused this Pitt Panther program with a lot of excitement, both for the present and the future. I think you'll be excited about what you see from here today in terms of his performance.
And we've got the most experienced active quarterback in college football against a freshman, and they will square off when we come back after these messages and a word from our ABC. Just about set for kickoff between Pitt and Miami. Both teams still alive to reach the ACC championship game, and both teams still alive to reach the 12-team college football playoff. Miami, as we said, right on the bubble. They have to get into the top 10 to be a part of the field. And Chris Budden, Pat Narduzzi, so excited about the opportunity his Panthers have today.
He has so much on the line today, but his message to his team is you did that because you earned it. It was a big game last week against Georgia Tech. You handled business there, which made this game even better. He said enjoy it, appreciate it all. Where they might have the edge today, the weather. It's going to be a high of 35 today here in Pittsburgh, where it's in the mid-70s back in Miami. Pitt practiced outside in this weather all week. It was snowing yesterday. Narduzzi told us Thursday was the perfect day, where it was a feels-like temperature of 21, Bob.
77 degrees in South Florida. That's kind of rubbing it in a bit, but feels like football weather. We asked Mario Cristobal about the weather, and this is the quote he gave to the media. There is no such thing as bad weather, only soft people.
Yeah, I guess there's some truth to that. I mean,
we say that, by the way, with these space heaters working at our feet.
Yeah, like Mario, he's one of the best offensive linemen that the University of Miami has seen. You see him out there. He's just got a long sleeve and the polo shirt on. He is ready to battle. His team will be too.
Will Deuce-Spann get a chance at a return? He will not. Miami won the toss and deferred, so Pitt starts with the football. And let's take a look at who's bringing the heat. Brought to you by Sonic and Mason Heinzel. Since taking over as the starter, Pitt 6-1.
Yeah, look, the coaching staff here has said, look, they saw early on, going all the way back to bowl practice a year ago, that Mason Heinzel was made of the right stuff. He is someone who is really drilled down on the details. He is just fantastic as far as making plays both in and out of structure. And he's going to have to manage this Miami pass rush here today with getting the ball out on time, not taking too many chances.
And Jakarian Turner had a 201-yard performance at tailback last week against Georgia Tech, a true freshman to his right. Heinzel back to throw. The pass rush already making its presence known. Ahmad Moten. He had 3 tackles for loss, a career high in the win last week against Virginia Tech, and it's a sack to begin.
And you just see how quick this Miami defensive front is as far as their ability to get on your edge and really pressure the pocket both inside out with the D tackles and on the outside with Bain and Mesidor. Ahmad Moten came back from injury a week ago, and you just see he's just picking up right where he left off.
2 sacks last week. His 4th of the season to begin this game. And now there's Boosie Turner. Only getting 3 Justin Scott made the stop for the U, so now it's 3rd down and 17 to start the game for Pitt.
And this is the kind of situation, Bob, that Cade Bell, the offensive coordinator for the University of Pittsburgh, you see them there on your screen, wanted to keep young Mason Heinzel out of. He didn't want him to have to be playing behind the sticks, where now Miami can really just pin their ears back and get after the passer.
4-man rush on 3rd down. Heinzel forced to check it down. Boosie Turner, he goes backwards. And Pitt will be punting from the goal line. Another loss of 6. Zachariah Poyser closed quickly on Boosie Turner.
Man, you see Zachariah Poyser, these safeties for Miami are just absolutely fantastic as far as their ability to tackle in the open field. Poyser came from about 12 yards depth and took down one of the most dynamic freshmen in all of college football. That's a great start for the Hurricanes.
Caleb Junko will try and change field position. Will this be returnable for Malachi Toney? He's going to let it bounce, and it's going to take a Pitt roll. And he'll now field it in traffic at about the 36-yard line. So not a bad flip of the field after that start offensively for Pitt. And now Carson Beck, his last 3 starts since that disappointing SMU loss, their 2nd of the season, he's been on fire.
Yeah, he sure has. You can see it on your screen right there. 80% completion percentage, almost 300 yards per game. And most importantly, he hasn't turned the ball over while throwing 8 touchdowns. And even that SMU game, he told us, he said, look, that was the best I had played all season long. I have to own the interceptions and the mistakes, but I'm very comfortable in this offense, and you see it now with the way he's playing.
He starts off play action. The blitz picked up. Finds a one-on-one on the edge. Keelan Marion steps out of bounds, about 1.5 yards short of a first down.
You see right away Pitt going with extra rushers, sending 6 and trying to man up across the board in the back end, trying to affect the pocket and get Carson Beck uncomfortable. They don't want him to be able to throw this football in rhythm and get the ball out on the perimeter to some of the most dangerous weapons in college football, namely Malachi Toney.
Malachi Toney takes the Wildcat snap and has a first down. Well, you want to talk about superstar freshmen. This might be the most impactful freshman in all of college football in Malachi Toney.
Yeah, look, offensive coordinator Shannon Dawson just tells you that there's nothing that this young man can't do. He is just wise beyond his years, so mature, so poised, strong built, low to the ground, compact, hard to bring down, and just can make plays down the field as well in the passing game with the deep shots, which you will see them take at some point in time here this afternoon.
Did Pitt tip their hand? Change of the play, it looks like, for Carson Beck. Mark Fletcher breaks a tackle and takes a couple of hits before picking up 5. Javon McIntyre brought him down.
Mark Fletcher goes 225 pounds, and he is one of the impact players here today. And Shannon Dawson challenged him, said, hey, look, we need you to break more tackles. We need you to be more of a physical presence, run the ball in between the tackles. Akeem Mesidor, you'll see him at some point in time. He's fantastic. Turner and Biles, those are the guys who have to be impact players for Pitt here today in order for them to have a chance to win the game.
That's Jimmy Scott down for Pitt, so we'll step aside. C.J. Daniels in motion. Here comes the blitz. Under pressure is back. Avoids a sack. Now he stumbles and goes down at the 37. Isaiah Neal blasted up the middle. And that sack flips the field, and it will give Pitt the football back.
You're going to see Isaiah Neal here on the stunt, just going to loop inside. You're going to get a linebacker fire as well down in the A-gap. And you're just going to see Neal come free right in the B-gap. You see he's unblocked. Mark Fletcher gets eaten up by the linebacker pressure in the A-gap as well. That's just a nice coordinated blitz scheme by defensive coordinator Randy Bates. They know that that is critical to them having success against Carson Beck, who, as we said in the open, has been playing some very good football.
Dylan Joyce with an end-over-end kick. Kenny Johnson, fair catch at the 20-yard line. Let's take a look at this week's college football playoff rankings, brought to you by Capital One. Miami just on the outside looking in. Again, there's going to be a group of 5 team that's going to make the college football playoff and the winner of the ACC championship game. So Miami has to get up to number 10. And certainly, Lewis, what is sticking in the craw of all Miami fans, and rightfully so, they have a head-to-head win over the team that right now is at number 9.
Yeah, and really, look, all Miami can control right now is their performance. They just have to put impressive performances together and let the committee decide from there.
Lucy Turner, only a yard, maybe a yard and a half on first down. Akeem Mesidor made the stop.
It's really going to be key for Pittsburgh today to kind of get some movement at the point of attack and let Boosie Turner find some creases to where he can then utilize this dynamic speed that this young man possesses. If he can get to the second, third level, he can take it the distance from anywhere.
Swing pass to the tight end, Justin Holmes. He picks up 5, so 3rd down and 4 as Damari Brown made the tackle for the U.
And this is more of what Cade Bell is looking for. These 3rd and 5, 3rd and 4 type of situations where now hopefully he can get it protected up so Mason can really survey the football field. Maybe his legs come into play as well as far as his ability to pick up first downs running the football, and he can be a true run-pass threat.
Four-man rush, simulated pressure, and it gets home. Reuben Bain Jr. Another sack of Mason Heinchel, and it will be another 3 and out for Pitt.
See there, Mason Heinchel has got to move up in the pocket, or he has got to take off and run, because if you sit and you wait, and you're trying to wait for people to come open, Reuben Bain will eventually find you, or Akeem Mesidor will eventually find you. Ahmad Moten, they'll eventually come and find you. You've got to move up in the pocket here, let go of that football as receivers uncover, and play with a clock in your head that knows that we are going up against one of the dangerous pass rushers in college football, in Reuben Bain, number 4.
And no team brings 4 or less rushers and pressures the quarterback more in the ACC than Miami. And no player is more responsible for those pressures than Reuben Bain. As Tony with a fair catch at the Miami 36-yard line after a 43-yard punt.
ABC College Football is presented by the Starbucks Coffee Company.
Braylon Lovelace with a 100-yard pick 6. Huge play, and then Boosie Turner capped it. Georgia Tech nearly came from 4 touchdowns down last week. Really put a scare into Pitt, but the Lovelace pick 6 ended up powering a 42-28 win for Pitt. Keeps their ACC championship game hopes alive. Virginia and SMU control their destiny. Pitt on the wrong side of the tiebreakers, but it's been chaos, it seems, all year, Lewis, in this league. Who knows what happens this weekend?
Yeah, I mean, really, all these teams are going to really be monitoring the results of one another. But most importantly, they have to take care of business here on the football field. And this here is a very intriguing matchup that we have on our hands right now.
False start to begin this drive for Miami. Unless it was disconcerting signals, it looks like that's what Miami believes the call might be.
Delay of game. Defense, number 0. Disconcerting signals.
There it is.
5-yard penalty. First down.
So that's Braylon Lovelace, who costs Pitt 5 yards.
Yeah, you can see Braylon. You can see him as he's sitting back here. You can see him right here in the middle of your screen. He claps his hands together before the ball is snapped. And I'm sure that's what Miami is arguing and what the referees pointed out. Just can't afford to give this explosive offense any hidden yardage that they don't deserve and earn on their own.
Backwards pass to Malachi Tony. He turns upfield and has a first down. Chris Button, injury update for Pitt.
Yeah, Jimmy Scott, who we saw injured earlier, went to the injury tent. He is now out with a heavily wrapped left knee. He does have his helmet on, is on the sidelines, not in right now, but has run at full speed, was nodding his head that he was good, and is standing on the sidelines looking like he's ready to go when called.
That would be good news for Pitt because they're thin on the defensive line right now. There's Tony making a catch, breaking a tackle, lowering his shoulder and picking up 9 more.
Those yards after contact was something that Randy Bates, the defensive coordinator, said was going to be a critical determining factor. That time you see Malachi Tony, his ability to make maybe one of the best tacklers on this defense, and Kyle Lewis missing space and gain extra yardage.
First down for Fletcher. Braylon Lovelace made the stop. And Malachi Tony came into today with 29 more catches than any other true freshman in college football. He's #1 in FBS true freshman receptions, yards. He has been the ACC Rookie of the Week the last couple of weeks. Heck, he's got 3 consecutive games where he's completed a pass.
Yes.
He does everything.
Yeah, offensive coordinator Shannon Dawson, he just giggles over the fact that this kid is so talented, and he just kind of has to be creative with ways in which he can touch the football and affect this offense in a positive way.
They stack him to the bottom of your screen. Instead, they'll hand it to Fletcher, and now the first negative of the drive for Pitt as Nick James and Isaiah Neal combine to bring down Fletcher behind the line of scrimmage, so it'll be 2nd down and 12.
TFLs is something that this defense really thrives off of, that being Pitt's defense. They really do play an in-your-face, stunning, slanting, moving, downhill type of defense that is predicated on playing on the offensive side of the line of scrimmage.
Screen, Tony. Breaking tackles. I think he's got a 1st down. Flag thrown, though, from the secondary. Tony might be a half-yard short if the play stands. Another tackle for Isaiah Neal. But a flag thrown.
I think they're going to get safety Kavir Baines-Marquez for going low in space on a blocker downfield.
Personal foul. Illegal block below the waist. Defense number 3, 23. 15-yard penalty. Automatic 1st down.
So that turns into a big play for Miami.
Yeah, that's who it was. Baines-Marquez, you're going to see, he's going to be coming downhill from the safety position. You're going to see him right here on your screen. He's got a big offensive lineman coming out on him. It's going to be the center, James Brockermeyer. And look, they instituted this rule to try and protect offensive linemen and protect them from lower leg injuries when you try and take them out. Look, it's tough. Baines-Marquez only goes about 175 pounds against Brockermeyer, who's 300 plus. But those are the rules. Just, again, hidden yardage now by penalties, the kind of thing you can't give to Miami.
Again, the Wildcat. Straight throw for Tony. He's going to go back corner of the end zone, incomplete. True freshman to true freshman try there to Joshua Moore.
That was a nice throw. He dropped it right in there. As you say, it's this nice recovery on the part of Harris in the corner, getting his head around at the last minute and tipping that ball away. But Malachi Tony is just so ridiculously talented. He has a quarterback background going back to his youth before he made the full-time switch to wide receiver.
And now he's part of the bunch set. Beck back to throw. Escapes the pocket. Spins. And goes nowhere. And then pays the price. Rasheem Biles wrapped up Beck. He might be hurt. Oh, he gets up a little slowly. Paused on the ground there. That was a nervous moment for Miami. It brings up a red zone 3rd down. You saw a moment ago, Miami is a top 20 team in terms of red zone touchdown percentage, but now it's 3rd down and 9.
See here again, defensive coordinator Randy Bates. This is the chess match between him and Shannon Dawson. Do you bring pressure? Do you send extra guys after Carson Beck? Make him hurry up his process, but you got to take care of number 10.
Beck finds a crosser. It's Keelan Marion. And he is tackled before the 10-yard line. So it will be a field goal attempt for Miami. That's a red zone stop for Pitt defensively. And Kyle Lewis and Rasheem Biles both rallying to the football.
Really nice job of playing front and coverage. Only rushed with 4, covered with 7 in the back end. Eyes on the receivers. Played a little cover 4, a little red 4, which is something that a lot of teams do down here. Everybody rallying to the football, stopping the ball carrier short of the 1st down. That's a nice job by Pitt on 3rd down.
29-yard attempt for Carter Davis. And he will get Miami on the board. So the Hurricanes take the lead with 4.5 minutes to go in the 1st. AT&T is keeping you connected with our bracket insights. How does Miami make the field in the college football playoff as an at-large bid? Well, right now being number 12, pretty simple. You're looking at 8 through 11 and hoping you get 2 upsets in 2 of these 4 games. If either Oklahoma, Notre Dame, Alabama, or BYU If two of those teams were to lose, seems pretty obvious if Miami can get the job done today at Pittsburgh, that they would hop up into the 10 spot at the very least and then be on the right side of the playoff bubble. Sign up now at ESPN.com and fill out your own CFP bracket challenge presented by AT&T. Bobby Schuster, Louis Riddick, Chris Button here in Pittsburgh. It'll be a touchback on the kickoff. And Louis, let's revisit our impact players, brought to you by Fairfield by Marriott.
Yeah, absolutely. We've already seen these guys already have an impact on the football game. Mark Fletcher, the hammer of a running back that the Miami coaching staff really challenged to go ahead and run with more physicality this week. Akeem Mesidor, he's just a do-it-all inside-outside pass rusher for this ferocious Miami defensive front. Jakarian Turner, Boosie Turner, the freshman who had over 200 yards rushing a week ago against Georgia Tech. He has to make his presence felt. We've already seen the do-it-all linebacker Rasheem Biles as far as his ability to stop the run, make plays in space, and rush the passer.
2 3-and-outs to start the game for Pitt. They have negative 12 yards of total offense. Heinchel, double clutch to the near side, and that's knocked away, intended for Poppy Williams. Bryce Fitzgerald came over and got a hand on the football. So again, it's second down and long for Pitt.
Yeah, this is the kind of situation they don't want to be caught in too often now. Second and long type of situations where it's predominantly pass, because this is where this defensive line really gets excited and gets teed up. But that was just a great play by Bryce Fitzgerald, the freshman safety, who the Miami coaches love.
The Canes showing edge pressure. Here they come. Throwing right behind the blitz is Heinchel. Oh, he needed that. And Poppy Williams makes the catch for 9 yards to make it third down and 1.
That's just a great adjust on the part of Mason Heinchel and Poppy Williams being on the same page. Now they're in a much more favorable third down situation.
Going backwards, though, is Heinchel, and he sidearms one intended for Williams. Bryce Fitzgerald all over him. They faked the handoff to Boosie Turner. The Canes weren't fooled.
And you can see it's Bryce Fitzgerald coming off the top of your screen right here that really messes with Heinchel's line of sight. He can't let the ball go when he wants to. He has the receiver open where if he could get the ball out on time. But again, a nice play by Fitzgerald of getting in his throwing lane.
Pitt leaving their offense on the field. Is this just a hard count, or will they snap the ball? They do. On 4th and 1, and up the middle, getting grabbed around the waist and dragged back was Boosie Turner. Did he get there? The officials running in from either side. Well, they are going to mark the football right on the line to gain, and they are going to give Pitt the first down. Mario Cristobal can't believe it. Pitt wants to quickly snap it before the spot can be reviewed. They get that snap off. Now the play blown dead. And now it's Pitt's sidelines turn to explode as Pat Narduzzi is screaming at the officials.
Prior to the snap, replay initiated a review about the ruling on the field of the line to gain made.
So just before the snap, replay initiates a review, and we're going to have again an opportunity to listen in to the ACC Game Day Operations Center in Charlotte as they talk this over with our referee Riley Johnson.
Okay, guys, the ruling on the field is the line the game was made.
Okay, and Riley, take a look right behind the Miami players, the running back right in the middle of the screen. We're going to go forward. There's the ball. The ball's going to be right there. And
yeah, so based off of this, this is the best look that we're going to have. Based off of this, we believe he gets there. The ruling on the field is upheld as of now. We're looking at any views coming in from the program.
The views, Rob.
I think we're all set here. Based off of this, is everybody in agreement the ruling on the field is upheld?
Yes.
Outstanding, everybody. The ruling on the field is upheld, and we'll have 1st and 10.
1st and 10 at the 30. Okay.
Thanks, guys.
It's the best peek behind the curtain we could possibly ask for.
It absolutely is.
After further review, the ruling on the field is upheld, and there is no foul for illegal substitution. First down.
And with the absence of clear and obvious evidence to the contrary that he didn't make the line of the game, they have to uphold the call, which is the right decision to make. You see Miami was scrambling to get off the field with extra defenders as Pitt was trying to hurry up to the line and snap the football, so they said there's no foul for extra defenders on the field. First down, Pitt.
And how about the call by Pitt as well, going for it on 4th down and 1 from inside their own 35-yard line and getting it.
Getting some momentum for this offense right now is crucial.
Play clock down to 7. Heinzel backs up. Play clock at 2. Gets it off. Well protected. He's going to take a shot. Looking for Poppy Williams. Incomplete. Couldn't hold on. It was there. He had Bryce Fitzgerald beat.
I mean, that's just a great double move on the part of Poppy Williams. He absolutely had Bryce Fitzgerald beat. And this is the kind of throw and catch that you just have to make. You have to execute. He has to come down with this throw. These are momentum-changing type of throws. And when you don't come up with them against a team that's as good as Miami, it can really be deflating. Now it's going to be critical for this offense to continue to grind and put that play behind them.
That's Jules Goff emptying the backfield. Heinzel spins out on the move on 2nd down and 10. He's going to tuck it under and run. Oh, does he get walloped after a gain of 6? Zachariah Poyser lowers the boom on the freshman quarterback.
We've seen Zachariah Poyser do this time and time again. This is Heinzel's patented escape move. He likes to turn his back and escape to the left, and you're going to see Poyser, number 7, with a clean hit coming downhill.
And now trying to quick snap it, Pitt on 3rd down and 5.
False start. Offense. Not all players were set before the snap. 5-yard penalty. 3rd down.
And they went too quickly for their own good. Oh, Mason Heinzel, slide, young man.
No question about it. That time, I think they got Poppy Williams. He was in the slot trying to get himself set. The running back may have been moving as well as they were trying to up the tempo. But Mason Heinzel, I mean, his competitive character on full display here. He's going to try and do everything to move this football down the field. You just got to know who you're going against.
3rd down and 9, really 3rd down and just about 10. And they'll hand it off to Jules Goff. Spin cycle, he's got the 1st down. And a big push to midfield. Running through contact, Jules Goff. Gain of 13.
And that's a great jump cut on the part of Jules Goff to get that ball off tackle to the right and then accelerate on to the 2nd level, have a spin move, cause Jacoby Thomas to miss the tackle in the open field. And now Pitt's on the move.
And they go up tempo again. Blue Hicks, the intended receiver. He's got it! Down to the 11-yard line. What an adjustment to the football for Blue Hicks.
A true 50-50 ball. Can you make the plays in a contested environment? It doesn't get any more contested than that. Going up against Ethan O'Connor and winning the one-on-one battles outside the numbers. The mark of a true number 1 type wide receiver. And Blue Hicks has been a big play receiver for this football team this season.
41-yard gain puts Pitt in the red zone. Heinzel fires one into the end zone, incomplete. He tried to find Kenny Johnson. And Ethan O'Connor helped in the coverage.
And Kenny Johnson just trying to run the post, the short post down here in the red zone. And you see that's just a nice job of Heinzel just layering that football over the outstretched hands of Mohamed Touré, the linebacker, almost fitted in there.
Another quick snap, and it's Goff. Picks up a yard, so now it's going to be 3rd down and 9 from the 10 as Ruben Bain wrapped up Goff.
You see here just a 57% TD percentage so far this year in 2025 for Pitt's offense. Keep an eye on the running backs down here. These running backs have caught the ball well out of the backfield, whether it be Desmond Reed when he was in the lineup, Boosie Turner. These guys are good, dynamic wide receiving threats out of the backfield. Jules Goff now in number 8.
Blitz coming, swing pass, Goff has it at the 10, at the 5, at the goal line. Is he in? If he's not, it should still be a 1st down, but the far side official says touchdown. Goff broke the plane, and Pitt has the lead.
What a great individual effort by Jules Goff. As you see, he's just getting sandwiched. That ball almost comes out. I don't know how he's able to secure it there. He hits his right hand back on it.
The ruling on the field is a touchdown. The previous play is under further review.
I think he's going to be marked just short. That elbow came down, and the ball didn't break the plane. But we said it just before this ball was snapped. These running backs really are good at catching the ball out of the backfield and being dynamic threats once they get into space. Jules Goff, the latest example.
Another listen in to the ACC Game Day Operations Center in Charlotte.
Take a look. He's on flying through the air. Now his elbow's going to go down short of the line to gain. So we're going to have first down at the 1/2 yard line.
Position 5.
First down at the, I'm sorry, bring us, what's the yard line?
Half yard line?
Half yard line.
Position 5.
First and goal. Position 5.
Correct.
All right. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
First and goal at the half-yard line. Good job.
Now remember, it was 3rd and 9 at the 10, so inside the 1 yard line, it's a first down.
After further review, the runner was short of the goal line. The ball will be placed at the half yard line. First down.
Again, Heinzel, this understanding, he's under pressure immediately. Just wants to get the ball out in the space to one of his backs so that they can really do something with the football in a one-on-one situation. And there you see the elbow down just short of the goal line. Just great recognition on the part of Mason Heinzel. That clock in his head is something that he has to be aware of, understanding that this pass rush for Miami can really make things difficult. Now they got a fresh set of downs here, 1st and goal.
Will they snap it before the end of the quarter? Does not look like they will get it off. That ends the 1st quarter.
There is no snap. The 1st quarter time expired. That is the end of the 1st quarter.
So they'll head to the opposite end of Acrisure Stadium for 1st and goal when we come back after these messages and a word from our ABC stations. Welcome back to ABC College Football, presented by Starbucks. Pitt on the doorstep of taking the lead. First play of the 2nd quarter will be inside the 1 yard line, 1st and goal. 12th play of this drive upcoming. And there have been some big plays on this drive made by Jules Goff. He got to the half yard line, didn't break the plane, so it sets up 1st and goal inside the 1. And Goff capping, losing the football at the mesh point was Heinzel. He jumps on top of it, but loses 5 yards.
That was almost disaster. You can see Heinzel, he's just trying to pull the football because he feels the linebacker, Chase Smith, just coming off the edge. And when you're in that no man's land in terms of, does the running back believe you're going to let him take it, or are you trying to pull it out and he tries to clamp down on it? That's usually when fumbles at the mesh point happen, as you saw right there.
So now they'll go empty. Twin receivers. Heinzel, swing pass, works to perfection. Justin Holmes walks in for a Pitt touchdown.
An obvious coverage bust on the part of the Miami secondary. They just totally turn loose. The tight end out to the flat, Justin Holmes. Just an easy throw and catch for Mason Heinzel.
Justin Holmes lost a touchdown catch last week to penalty, then got it back on the same drive. And he's got another this week to give Pitt the lead. A 13-play, 75-yard touchdown drive. It took over 5 minutes off the clock.
I mean, really, this is just good execution on the part of the Pitt offense. First and foremost, Boosie Turner converting on the 4th down, and then the big explosive play to Blue Hicks, who was averaging over 17 yards per catch coming into this game. And then the touchdown to Justin Holmes. You're just going to see him leak out here into the flat, and no one goes with him at all. Miscommunication in the secondary for the Miami Hurricanes. They just turn loose the tight end for an easy throw and catch. And you can see there, Kenny Johnson releasing inside. He's manned up one-on-one with Damari Brown. No one out in the flat against Justin Holmes. And now here in the 2nd quarter, this game has gotten all kinds of interesting. Now the Pitt defense gets it back out here on the field. What can Miami do to respond? How can they string together some first downs and get some more points on the board as they find themselves down 7-3?
Returnable kick. Marion inside the 5. Finds a crease. Keelan Marion nearly broke it. Got all the way out to about the 44-yard line before he was finally brought down. A 38-yard return, and for 20 years, Allstate has celebrated every field goal and extra point made at participating universities by donating to the university's athletic scholarship fund, supporting all student athletes. Thank you to Allstate. A really good field position for the Canes after the Marion kickoff return.
Football's a game of momentum swings. Can Pitt capitalize on the momentum generated by their offense and get a quick 3 and out?
Flag thrown. This is going to back the Canes up 5. It appears to be a false start.
False start. Offense. Number 73. 5-yard penalty. First out.
It's been a problem this year for Mario Cristobal's team, specifically, if you remember, in that SMU loss.
Absolutely.
They had 8 penalties in the first half of that game, and it's been an Achilles heel.
And we talked to them the week following when they played against Syracuse down in Coral Gables, down in Miami. And they had seemed to get a handle on it. Now it looks like it's starting to rear its head again.
It's their first flag today as Malachi Toney bottled up along the sideline.
Yeah, playing clean football, playing to their standard, is something that Mario Cristobal has told us time and time again, that he has emphasized with his football team, that when they play clean football and they execute, they can play with anybody in the country. And the proof is on the tape. They can absolutely do so. And now this offense needs to respond here against a Pitt defense that you know is going to continue to try and ratchet up the pressure on Carson Beck.
Blitz coming. Beck. Little button hook to midfield. Alex Bauman brought down 3.5 yards short of the first down, so a 3rd down coming for Miami. And last week, Lewis, we talked a lot about the margin of victory and what it had to be for Miami at Virginia Tech. That, of course, was a below 500 team that fired their coach back early in the season. Is just a win today enough on the road against a ranked opponent in Pitt?
Yeah, it's hard to say what the committee really is going to value and what they're not going to value. I just know this, that the Miami Hurricanes need to play some of their very best football. And they need to come out of here with a win at the very least. An impressive win will help, obviously, a lot more.
And there's a first down catch. JoJo Trader reached out and grabbed a strike from Carson Beck.
This is really good execution on the part of Beck. You can see now he is locked in. He is going through his reads quickly. His feet are set. He's firing this ball with authority, and he is taking control on this drive.
Play action. Whole shot to the sideline. Oh, what a one-handed catch. Did he hold on? Malachi Toney. He did. What a catch by the freshman.
Let me tell you, this is a heck of a throw as well. For him to be able to get that ball over Kyle Lewis on that corner route, just over the outstretched arms of the flat defender, and that being Kyle Lewis, that's what's called layering of football. Just said Carson Beck is starting to feel it. You can tell he's playing with urgency and confidence. That throw and that catch by Malachi Toney. Wow.
There he goes in motion. Instead, it's another true freshman. And Gerard Pringle almost found a crease to the end zone. Picks up 8 into the red zone.
I mean, just look at Carson Beck here from the sky cam. It's just a great view. You see Kyle Lewis. You see him right there. He tries to jam Malachi coming off the line of scrimmage and kind of just throw off the timing. Carson was not deterred. He let it go anyway and put it right over top of him. And that catch, I mean, Malachi Toney, are you kidding me?
How fun is he to watch?
Oh, he's just one of the best. One of the very best.
He's wide right to the top of your screen. Again, Pringle, the true freshman, with Beck in the backfield. And there goes Pringle. First down. It's 1st and goal for Miami, just outside the 9-yard line.
And see, this is what Shannon Dawson, the offensive coordinator, is going to want to do as far as the run game is concerned. He knows that up front, they are huge across the line of scrimmage, 345, 325, 295, 345, 335. He knows they have a size advantage. He is going to want to try and lean on this undersized and undermanned defensive front of the University of Pittsburgh and really establish this running game.
Here's Malachi Toney to take the direct snap again. He's going to roll out. He's going to throw it. Easy pitch and catch, touchdown to Elijah Lofton. Malachi Toney does it again. And that one might have been the easiest throw he's made this year.
What a really nice job of Elijah Lofton. Just watch how he just kind of floats and floats and floats until the secondary declares, and then he takes off upfield. He's trying to sell the run until the secondary defenders draw up towards the line of scrimmage. You see it right there. And then he just kind of avoids the safety, Kavir Baines-Marquez. And Malachi Toney, again, that creative play calling by Shannon Dawson, utilizing this kid's entire skill set to their advantage.
7-play touchdown drive for the answer by the U, and Malachi Toney, a touchdown pass.
He's been doing it all season long, one of the most dynamic players in all of college football. He strikes again, this time with a touchdown throw.
WWE Survivor Series is a Thanksgiving week tradition since 1987, and War Games returns tonight with a stacked card, highlighted by the main event, a 5-on-5 locked 2-ring steel cage match with Cody Rhodes and Brock Lesnar leading their teams. Coverage begins at 7 Eastern, streaming on the ESPN app with the unlimited plan. Speaking of leading your team, a freshman shall lead them as Malachi Toney, his second touchdown pass of the season, gives Miami the lead. And this will sail over the head of Deuce Spann for a touchback. He just does it in every statistical category, Lewis.
Yeah, he's just so dynamic again. So mature, able to handle a lot of different responsibility within this Miami offense. Taking snaps from the Wildcat as a runner, taking snaps from the Wildcat as a thrower, playing in the slot, playing the X or the Z on the outside. He can just do it all. I mean, he's just a dream come true as far as an incoming freshman recruit having the kind of impact that he has had. And it's not just on the field. When we talked about it weeks ago, or just a week ago when we did their game against Virginia Tech, he's just so mature off the field, doing so much for others. Exactly what you're looking for.
Jules Goff dancing and not getting much. Did well to just get back either to or just past the line of scrimmage. Wesley Basaint made the tackle, but that Miami defensive front, they blew that play up.
Yeah, they are coming off the ball with bad intentions. Justin Scott, one of those dynamic big men up front that can really make life difficult.
Heinchel, shot down the middle of the field, and a sliding catch made by Poppy Williams. If he could have caught it in stride, he was gone.
Mason Heinchel had to do a great job of avoiding Ahmad Moten. And there you see Poppy Williams with the excellent adjust, but that really starts with Heinchel's ability to move in the pocket and buy time, step up in the pocket, and even get that ball off.
They wanted the quick snap again, and they snapped it too quickly.
False start, offense, number 70, 5-yard penalty, first down.
And you can see here Ahmad Moten just comes scot-free. You see he just beats the right tackle, Ryan Baer. And that's just textbook execution on the part of Heinchel, keeping two hands on the football, moving up in the pocket, keeping his eyes downfield. And then you're going to see here Poppy Williams getting his hands under the football. Ball doesn't move, traps it to his chest. And that's just good next-level football.
The play clock's winding down, and they're going to have to call timeout, Will Pitt. You could see Heinchel signaling over to the sideline. He was not getting the play call in time.
Timeout.
The play
Pittsburgh.
clock had wound all the way
First of the
down to
half.
the point that they spend a timeout, so we'll step aside.
Just about Lekembe.
Welcome back to Pittsburgh. Mason Heinchel dedicates his play to a friend of his he lost a couple years ago. His Best friend and former teammate Lucas Mason was killed in the 7th grade. A car hit him while he was riding his bike. And in the years since, Heischel has done several things to honor his friend's memory, including having custom cleats made with Lucas's number 63. He gifted a pair to Lucas's parents after a game. You can see the cleats there when the parents attended to watch Heischel play. As his visibility has risen, he's made sure to keep a spotlight on his friend with each game. And there's Mom Josie with Mason after the game.
That's why Mason Heischel wears number 6. Lucy Turner back into Heinchel's left. Kenny Johnson in motion, swing pass to the near side, and Johnson is turned back. The youth football number that was worn by Lucas Mason was 63. And at age 13, before he passed away, as Chris said, getting hit by a car riding his bike, he was the center on the youth football team that would snap the ball to Mason Heischel. So when their friend died, Mason Heischel told his friend, another friend, you wear number 3, I'll wear number 6, and we will then honor Lucas's memory by combining to wear his old number. He still wears number 6 to this day. 4-man rush, bullet to the sideline, diving catch made. Is the catch given? It is. Poppy Williams stretched out.
This is just a fantastic throw. He has to let this ball go on time and put it in basically about a 1 foot by 1 foot box. And Poppy Williams just continues to come up with big catch after big catch.
I think replay is going to get involved. Poppy Williams may have been airborne.
On the field is a completed pass. That play is under further review.
Did his feet leave the ground before he had complete possession of the football? And did he then land out of bounds? Well, we'll let you behind the curtain once again with the ACC Game Day Operations Center in Charlotte, and you'll listen into the conversation.
We're going to see, once he gets control of the ball, that's what we're going to be looking for, and then we're going to see whether or not the feet are down when he gets control of the ball.
The ruling on the field is a completed catch.
All right, Riley, we're going to try to take a look and see when he gets control. So here comes the ball in.
Low ends.
I'd say control, not yet. There we go. And
so there's control, and now I see the feet are up.
Yep, I agree. I got an incomplete pass.
So based off of this, then he's going to be going, and let's see when the player goes down to the ground. Keep going, keep playing through. No, go back to that.
Yeah, they say this one's a good one too. When he brings it in right there, he's up. It's incomplete. Yeah.
So based off of this, then we're going to see that the feet are up on replay B.
Yep.
So I'm going to show you this. Gets control of this ball, which we're going to go back here.
Right.
So we're going to see and identify the control of the ball. So based off of this, so right here, I believe possibly, now we're going to be looking here to see if we have control here, and then that foot may be on the ground here at this point, and then we're going to follow through. The ruling on the field is a completed catch, Riley,
yes,
correct?
Yes, correct.
We're going to uphold the ruling on the field of a completed catch with replay B. Everybody in agreement?
Okay.
All right.
All right, thanks everyone.
Okay, thanks. After further review, the ruling on the field is upheld.
Well, Matt Austin, they uphold the call. Your thoughts?
Yeah, I disagree with their ruling. I think they had it right the first time, that by the time he had firm control of that ball, his feet were off the ground. This is a good shot right here, and the next thing that hits is his elbow and his knee, and I'm not sure he's got full control of the ball. That looks like it's moving anyways in his chest, so I think that's an incomplete pass.
Even with that disagreement, listening into the conversation, as now on 3rd down and 2, a bump will blow this play dead at the line. This might give Pitt a first down by penalty.
I definitely think they're going to get Justin Scott, number
Offside.
5.
Defense with contact. That 5-yard penalty results in a first down.
You see Justin Scott right over the center. Akeem Mesidor at the left defensive end. also a little bit anxious to try and get off the football.
But again, what's great about the Game Day Operations Center for the ACC, even if you disagree with the call, you seem to disagree less because you hear how they arrive at the call rather than being left in the dark. It's just the best. Lucy Turner motions in the backfield, takes the handoff, and he will go nowhere. He killed Georgia Tech getting outside last week. Can't get outside of Miami as we go down to Chris.
Bob Pitt without one of their top wide receivers, Kenny Johnson, who's over on the sideline without his helmet. They were taking a look at his right arm, but he is in definite pain.
He was the favorite target of Mason Heinschel, certainly in the first half last week against Georgia Tech. So that's a big weapon on offense right now that Pitt is without. 2nd down and 10.
He's the leader in receptions on this football team. Next man up.
Blitz coming. Heinschel. Pocket collapses. Another sack for Miami. Ruben Bain got there. Ahmad Moten arrived as well.
Trying to get the ball to Boosie Turner up the sideline, but you're just going to see here and here. Just working one-on-one pass rush. The 3 technique, Ahmad Moten. You're going to see Akeem Mesidor as well. Receiver was not ready for Mason Heinschel to let that ball go. You could tell he was getting anxious. He wanted to let it go, didn't want to put the ball in harm's way, and just had to eat it and take the sack.
Corey Heatherman must enjoy calling defensive signals for Miami when you got those guys up front to rush the passer. Swing pass to Boosie Turner, and he'll at least bring the field goal group that much closer. This is a very tough stadium at times with the wind and the unpredictability of this open end as well to kick field goals in. So now Trey Butkowski, who had mono and is now back, the true freshman, to kick today for Pat Narduzzi. He'll try a 42-yarder to see if he can tie the game.
This is something that Pat Narduzzi was looking forward to, something that really did, cause them a lot of angst, their field goal and extra point operation.
And he will not come close. Well outside the right upright. He struggled during warm-ups kicking to that end of the stadium. We saw him miss a bunch of practice kicks, and now it bites him in the game as well.
You can see his reaction immediately. He knew he had mishit it. He's going to have to get that corrected if they're going to have a chance to win.
A deal.
Carson Beck over 74% completion percentage this season, #1 in the ACC. No Miami quarterback has ever gone over 70% in a season. It just keeps on going up, Lewis. He's 8 for 9 to start today's game.
Yeah, ever since we saw him against Syracuse back on November the 8th, he has really been playing at a very high level, carrying it through here today.
Ringle on the handoff. And Carson Beck just happy to be playing. Right, had that UCL tear that he suffered in the SEC championship game, came back out of the draft, transfers to Miami out of the portal. Shohei Ohtani's surgeon performed the same operation on Carson Beck, and here he is playing himself back into the NFL conversation, although that pass high for Malachi Toney, so it'll be 3rd down and 3.
Look, he says that the arm feels different, but he's 100% healthy. And you can tell mentally, again, he has taken his game to a whole nother level. He wants to push the ball down the field. He can throw the ball with great accuracy on the 2nd and 3rd level. And I think most importantly, you're seeing him run the football now with more conviction when things break down.
In his career, Carson Beck is 12-3 against ranked opponents. 3-0 this year for the U. So trying to win a 4th game against a ranked opponent and get his team to the college football playoff. Looking at a blitz on 3rd down, well protected. Malachi Toney is able to make the catch with a defender right on his hip. Kavir Baines-Marquez brought him down, but not before Toney picked up 5 and a fresh set of downs.
Really nice job by the Miami interior offensive line of keeping the pocket secure so Carson can survey the field and just make an easy throw and catch.
Now they play with some pace, and Fletcher drags a tackler for 8 yards. Braylon Lovelace went for a bit of a ride as he was trying to hold on for dear life on Mark Fletcher Jr., all 225 pounds of him.
See, that's what That's what Miami has. They have a very diverse offense in terms of body types and ways in which they can hit you both inside with power or outside with speed. I mean, they've got 4 backs between Fletcher, Shamar Brown, Gerard Pringle, and Jordan Lyle that they can just torture you with the different ways in which they can attack you in the run game. And we already know what they can do in the pass game.
Another handoff. And just lowering your shoulders and getting it up for the first down is Fletcher. And also, Lewis, you mentioned earlier the undersized Pitt defensive line. They don't have a defensive lineman that goes over 300 pounds. So how do you counter it? What's the system for Pat Narduzzi's group to try and make up for the fact that they're not big?
Yeah, you have to get them on edges, meaning they have to be moving and stunting all the time, so this big Miami offensive line can't just get a hat on a hat and wear them down. So you always have to try and be one step ahead, and hopefully you can get some 3 and out so the play count just doesn't rise on you to the point where in the 4th quarter you have nothing left to give.
4-man rush. There's an escape patch for Carson Beck. And he will slide.
And that's exactly what Shannon Dawson is looking for. Survey the field, go through your progressions. If it's not there, you don't like it, then just find an escape route and use your legs. You're a more than adequate enough athlete to go ahead and put yourself in favorable 2nd down, 3rd down situations. As you see here, 2nd and 4, as you see Shannon Dawson there on your screen, the offensive coordinator for the Hurricanes. They'll take that all day long.
He had the #1 pick in the draft at quarterback last year, and as a result, the #1 offense in terms of scoring and total yards in America. Not quite that good this season, but Beck on a rollout has been very efficient. Alex Bauman, the tight end, dragging tacklers down to the doorstep of the red zone.
And here's the effect of the run game. Now you fake the zone read to Mark Fletcher and just watch what it does to the 2nd-level defenders. Look at what it does to Kyle Lewis and Rasheem Biles. They're thinking he's going to hand it off, and then out the gate goes Alex Bauman. Now they've got you right where they want you because they've been mashing you with the run game, getting 4 and 5 yards a pop. And now the play-action pass game comes off of it. If you're Pitt right now, you've got to create some negative plays some way, shape, or form. They've been one of the best teams at creating tackles for loss, getting interceptions, returning them for touchdowns. I think it's critical right here as this first half winds down for them to come up with one.
They run it with Fletcher. And you'd imagine they would let the clock wind all the way down to the 2-minute timeout. Miami has 3 timeouts. So they can let the clock wind down here. And remember, they also won the toss and deferred. So they'll start the 3rd quarter with the ball. So they manage the clock here well. Mario Cristobal's team, they could score twice before Pitt ever sees it again.
Absolutely.
And they will do just that. They'll take the clock down to the 2-minute timeout. And we'll come back to Pittsburgh in a moment. Kevin Nagandi and Booger McFarland are standing by with the Capital One halftime report. Lane Kiffin, will he stay or will he go? We're waiting. And if Michigan beats Ohio State, would they jump all the way up into the top 10? Is that another team that Miami has to worry about in their rearview mirror as that bubble could shift significantly in the college football playoff picture? Those guys will be going over that and more coming up on the Capital One halftime report. Bob Wischusen, Lewis Riddick, Chris Budden, Malachi Toney, and Mark Fletcher flanking Carson Beck in the backfield. Beck, he's going to float one for Toney. Touchdown. "22-yard score. He's got one passing, and now he's got one receiving.
Again, when we take a look at it, you're going to see the linebacker Kyle Lewis just get picked off by his own man, Lynham, the corner, as they just run Malachi Toney up the sideline. A little wheel concept, and he comes wide open.
Malachi Toney came into today needing 91 yards to break Amon Richards' freshman Miami receiving record. And he's already up to 76 receiving yards and now a touchdown in the first half.
Yeah, you're just going to see Malachi Toney this run up the sideline. Kyle Lewis, that's the guy to watch. Watch him get picked off by the corner, who's playing man-to-man on Keelan Marion, and you can see right there, that's all that they need in order to get Malachi Tony loose. You just have to be aware of maybe the route combinations that you get. And you see Kyle Lewis just kind of loosening his alignment, trying to make sure he maintains leverage on Malachi Tony. He just does not get enough depth so he can clear his own defender and get over the top on that wheel route. And that's all that they need in order to get Malachi Tony open in space for the touchdown.
Carson Beck and the Canes trying to close the season with a 4-game win streak. Their previous 3 wins over Syracuse, NC State, and Virginia Tech by an average of over 26 points per win. Now they're up by 10 here in the first half. Just trying to build that resume, and can they get themselves into a close enough conversation as far as the committee is concerned with Notre Dame, where a head-to-head win over Notre Dame makes the difference, even if it's the first game of the season. I have to think it should make the difference. But will that be the conversation that takes place? And Malachi Tony, most single-season receptions in Miami history. He is climbing the list, trying to track down Xavier Restrepo's record from a couple of years ago.
And what more can you say about this young man? They have given him the football in every way imaginable. As a runner, as a thrower, as a receiver in the slot on the outside, and he just continues to answer every challenge they put in front of him. It's just as good as it gets.
Blitz. Heinschel finds a crease up the middle, and this time slides, and wisely so. Picks up 8 yards. Now Pitt still with 2 timeouts, so 1:45 on the clock. Certainly plenty of time for them to score points to try to make this a 1-score game at halftime.
I think this is a crucial possession for them. They need to get back some of this momentum, get this offense going again, and getting this football team feeling good. They have produced some explosive plays on the 3rd level of the defense against Miami in a way in which you don't typically see with this Hurricane defense. They need to produce them again here as this clock is ticking down to end the first half.
4-man rush. Checking it down underneath is Heinschel. And there is Jakarian Turner. Only picks up 3, though. They're holding on to their timeouts. Down to 1:12 to go in the half. Miami shows blitz. Now Heinschel realizes it, but losing time. Still looking over to the sideline. Great to diagnose the defense, but the clock is winding down. Blitz comes from the opposite side. Heinschel floats one for Williams. Incomplete. Flag out. Zachariah Poyser looked to be in very good position. Poppy Williams might have climbed his back. He might be guilty of the penalty.
Pass interference, offense, number 5, 15-yard penalty, 2nd down.
The only thing that I would question at the beginning there was the arm bar that Poyser put out as he turns into the receiver and becomes the wide receiver and kind of just pins him to the sideline, which is textbook technique. When you're in phase and you're in control of the receiver, that's exactly what you do. You turn with your head back to the football and just kind of fade him to the boundary. When he stuck that right arm out, I wonder if they were going to call defensive pass interference. They see it the other way, but you got to give Poyser credit. That is textbook defensive back play in the deep part of the field.
Now the official stop play just as Pitt broke the huddle.
The clock started incorrectly. Please put 45 seconds on the game clock, and it will start with the snap of the football.
So the clock started prematurely. But now that prior play, not only the look over that costs them time as Mason Heinschel checked out, but then the interference penalty has them behind the chains, only 45 seconds on the clock. Another Miami blitz. Heinschel from the blind side, can't escape. And now I would think Miami might call timeout. Why wouldn't you if you're Mario Cristobal as Heinschel gets up with a limp? Bryce Fitzgerald on the safety blitz.
Timeout, Miami. Let's set the game clock to 38 seconds. First charge, timeout for Miami of this half.
You're going to see Bryce Fitzgerald coming off to the offense's left, and you can just tell that Corey Heatherman, the defensive coordinator, wanting to blitz to Heinchel's blind side, since he has a tendency to want to escape out of the pocket, reverse pivot, and escape out to his left. You see it show up on tape time and time again. You see the right foot, though, get caught underneath. That right ankle gets turned out to the side. That looked painful. You just hope he's okay.
So Eli Holstein is going to go in at quarterback now, as Mason Heinchel is now in the injury tent. Holstein got the team off to a 2-2 start this year. He was the incumbent. He was the starter to begin the season. After that 2-2 start, Pat Narduzzi made the quarterback change, and it's been a whole different year for the Panthers since, as they are 6-1 in the 7 games since Heinchel took over. Now it's back to Holstein, and they're going to try as best they can and end the half. But it's 3rd and 32, and now it's about to be 3rd and 37.
False start. Offense. Number 78. 5-yard penalty. 3rd down.
And boy, Lewis, the further they go back, the more it's increasing the chances Miami's going to get field position to possibly score again before halftime, still with 2 timeouts.
Yeah, this is not the scenario that Pat Narduzzi wanted for his offense, especially considering the fact that we said they wanted to kind of recapture some of this momentum, see if they can make this a 1-score game before the half. They've got to try and limit the damage here any way possible.
They'll give it to Boosie Turner, and he'll at least get them some field position. But now Mario Cristobal will call his final timeout, and the Canes will still have a timeout and a half minute.
Second charge timeout,
as
Miami.
Pitt will now punt.
30 seconds. Please set the game clock to 34 seconds.
And boy, did this game change. Off to a good start, though, for Pitt.
It sure did, with the touchdown pass to Justin Holmes on the nice play call, and then Malachi Toney just showing you his varying skills, both as a receiver and that time as a quarterback, as a thrower of the football. And then again, Carson Beck just continuing to throw the football with great accuracy. Shannon Dawson dialing up the perfect play call for the coverage, as Malachi Toney this time catches a touchdown pass.
So a big-time first half for Malachi Toney. And what went for Pat Narduzzi before halftime of trying to score to make it a 1-possession game has turned into Miami having an opportunity and Pitt getting the quarterback hurt. Toney hoping for a return. Makes a man miss at the 20-yard line. And gets bottled up just short of the 25 for Caleb Junko. That is a good punt, and that is not what you want to see for Pitt.
Yeah, Mason walking very gingerly on that right ankle. You just hope that is something he can keep loose and they can figure out a way to get him back out here on this football field to the second half. He has just been an infusion of just, like I said, of hope and inspiration for this offense with the way in which he plays the game. He's going to have a great career here at the University of Pittsburgh. Just got to keep him healthy. Hopefully he can come back out in the second half.
From his first start, he threw for 4 touchdowns and 323 yards against BC, and it has been basically the top of the ACC statistical columns passing since Shamar Brown. Miami going to play it conservatively here without field position on their side. And let's see if either team even opts to call a timeout, or we just go to halftime with the Canes on top by 10. And it looks like both teams will be fine with saying 17-7 is good enough at halftime. And the concern will turn to Mason Heinchel and whether or not he will be able to shake off the leg injury and start the 3rd quarter as we go down to Chris.
Mario, you told me after the first quarter you wanted to sustain drives. What changed for your offense there in the 2nd quarter?
Staying systematic, right? Routine plays, making them work. And then also, you know, our defensive line and more so our communication on defense improved. We started playing Miami ball.
I appreciate it.
So Miami trying to end the season with 4 straight wins and make it to the college football playoff. They're off to a good start. Time for the halftime report. Kevin Nagandi and Booger McFarland. Welcome back to ABC College Football, presented by Starbucks. You're watching the ACC on ESPN. The sun has left Pittsburgh. It's gotten colder. Winter has arrived here in the Steel City, but it's the team from South Florida that has the 10-point lead as they are trying to make their way to the college football playoff. Bob Wischusen here with Louis Riddick. Chris Budden on the sidelines as well. And Miami starts the third quarter with the ball and a 10-point lead. This is a big possession to begin the third.
No question. For Miami and Pittsburgh. For Miami, you can really put some distance between you and Pittsburgh right now and let your defense really hunt the quarterback because you know Pittsburgh's going to be in throw mode. For Pittsburgh, look, you've got to get a 3-and-out. You've got to get them off the football field, get the quarterback back on the football field, and see if they can get this passing game going like it was going at different points in time in the first half. So this, without question, this first series is going to go a long way towards determining how this football game goes.
And Chris Budden was down on the sideline. We'll check in with her in a moment. I think she's got some good news as far as the Pittsburgh quarterback situation is concerned, with Mason Heinschel making his way back to the sideline, but it will be the start of the second half with Miami with the football. Chris Wheatley-Humphrey on the return, and he gets taken down at about the 25-yard line as we take a look at today's unstoppable performance presented by Ram Trucks.
Look, Malachi Tony, he has been a do-it-all weapon for this offense all season long, and you see here today the dual threat capability as far as him being a runner and a thrower when he gets the ball from center in a Wildcat type of formation. Here, they just run him on a wheel route. They set up the route combination perfectly for the coverage. He comes wide open, and Carson Beck just lays it right on him. He's going to play a crucial role as this game winds down, because not only is he a big play threat, with his running ability, his catch and run ability, he's a guy who can also just move the chains as well.
Gerard Pringle starts off the second half with about an 8-yard run. And Chris Budden, an injury update, Chris, on Mason Heinschel.
Yeah, Pat Narduzzi said that he is good to go in this second half. Watched him warm up coming out of the locker room. He looked very good even after coming off and going to the locker room after that last possession. Pat Narduzzi also told me, listen, we just got to stop shooting ourselves in the foot with stupid penalties, and we'll be able to sustain drives.
Well, the question's going to be, Lewis, what will the score be when Heinschel gets back on the field? Can Pitt get a stop on this drive, or will they really have a deep hole to dig out of?
But right now, you can get right inside the mind of Shannon Dawson and Mario Cristobal. They're telling their big offensive line, we're going to lean on you right now. And you can tell that the size differential in the power running game of Miami is going to be something that's going to give Pittsburgh trouble if they're not able to jar this ball loose, somehow manufacture a turnover.
Beck faked the pitch to Malachi Tony and dove ahead for 1.5 yards.
Look, if you're Miami right now, considering how the first 2 plays just went, why would you go away from it? Why wouldn't you just continue the power running game? It's as simple as that. Make Pittsburgh answer whether or not they have the bodies to be able to withstand the kind of punishments you can inflict on them between the tackles.
Pitt has the second best run defense in the ACC. They average only giving up about 92.5 yards per game, but this is a monster Miami offensive line. Instead, they slip a little tight end pass to Alex Bauman. He's up the seam, and he runs all the way inside the 30, down to the 28-yard line.
And again, this is Bauman right here. You're just going to see everything go inside on the run fake. You see they're running a little crust on inside with the 2 backers anyway. And that's the benefit of having a running game that is hitting you for 5, 6, 7 yards at a pop. Linebackers become very aware of the fact that we have to support our undersized defensive front in this between the tackles running game, and it opens things up on the perimeter in the play action passing game.
That catch and run for Bauman went for 33 yards, and the Canes in business. Back, blindside on the blitz. That is exactly the negative that the Pitt defense needed. Rashad Battle came untouched off the corner.
And defensive coordinator Randy Bates, he understands what's going on. You've got to affect the quarterback some way, somehow. You see Battle, he times it up perfectly. Gerard Pringle, he steps up to take Rasheem Biles. Battle becomes the free runner on the quarterback. And there you see it. That's the negative play, as you said, Bob, that they're looking for. They need one better. They need to get the ball back. They need to give their offense possessions and opportunities to score.
Screen, Tony. He gets inside the 30-yard line, wrapped up by Javon McIntyre. And a late flag thrown from the far side of the field.
Bob, I was watching this whole thing unfold. The corner line, I'm just going at it with C.J. Daniels totally away from the play. Just going back and forth, hand fighting, and finally Lynham hits him in the face. And he's the last one who gets caught, and now that's going to cost the defense.
After the play was over, unsportsmanlike conduct, defense number 8. The penalty is half the distance to the goal line. Automatic first down. That's number 8's first unsportsmanlike conduct foul of the game. Timeout for an injured defensive player.
He knew right away. Knew right away that he had lost his composure.
11, Nick James.
And that's Nick James, an interior defensive lineman, down for Pitt. Already without Sean Fitzsimmons today. Jimmy Scott was hurt earlier, but was able to work his way back in, so the injuries piling up for Pitt on the defensive line. We are back here in Pittsburgh. Oh, on the left there, the Broadway Blue Shirts make an appearance in the Taco Bell Live Más student section. Only one student section can claim the title of Live Más Student Section of the Year. Who will take home the trophy this year? And Tamon Lynham over on the sideline after he went nose-to-nose with C.J. Daniels, and the veteran receiver C.J. Daniels sold it pretty well and was able to draw the unsportsmanlike conduct penalty, and a killer penalty on the Pitt defense. 1st and 10 in the red zone, but another pre-snap call, it looks like, against the Canes.
False start, offense, number 70. 5-yard penalty, first down.
Now, Lewis, without that penalty on Tamon Lynham, it would have been 3rd down 10, 3rd down and 11 or so for Miami, in a place, again, it's tough to kick field goals in even, and instead it's a fresh set of downs.
Yeah, look, we talked about it coming out at the start of the half, that this is a critical series for the Pitt defense and the Miami offense as well, as they could really stretch out their lead. But you just can't have the self-inflicted penalties. Now Miami commits a false start, and they put themselves behind the chains.
Jet sweep to Tony. Tries to turn the corner. He's inside the 15. Just about got the penalty yardage back. Isaiah Neal stretched out to make the stop. It'll be 2nd down and about 10 at the 15-yard line.
You see down here in the red zone, 2 possessions, 1 TD, 1 field goal. They had a nice play call, the nice dial up on the wheel route to Malachi Tony. You know he's going to become a factor down here again. Various ways in which they try and get him the football. And also just continue to keep an eye on Elijah Lofton. Already caught 1 touchdown pass. He is a very, very dynamic, diverse tight end. You see him here going in motion.
To the wide side of the field. They wanted the screen. Instead, it's a floater to the end zone. Incomplete for Bauman. So now it's 3rd down and 10 at the 15-yard line.
See him trying to hit Bauman on the over route. Sees this matched up one-on-one with Kyle Lewis, who does a nice job. It's critical for Pitt to force Miami into a field goal attempt here. Have to have great communication, have to some way, somehow affect the quarterback. Can't let him sit back here all day long and go through 2 and 3 progressions.
4-man rush, 1-on-1. Marion tied up at the goal line. Couldn't haul it in. Shadarian Harrison got in his face, and a flag throw. Is this another undisciplined penalty against the Pitt defense?
After the play was over, unsportsmanlike conduct, number 21 on the defense. Penalty is half the distance to the goal line. Automatic first down. Number 21's first unsportsmanlike conduct foul of the game.
I mean, it's just such a good play on the part of Shadarian Harrison. Now just walk away, just get out of the face of the receiver, and you could see McIntyre just walking over to tell him to just walk away as Pat Narduzzi just lets him know. That's two times now. Undisciplined play, post-snap. You just cannot continue to give Miami chances. And if you're Miami right now, you have to make Pittsburgh pay. You have to punch this in with the touchdown and make this a 3-score game.
Fletcher inside the 5, down to about the 3, where it will be 2nd down and goal. We showed you earlier how much Miami has struggled with penalties this season. Today it's been Pitt, 8 penalties against Pitt, and these last 2 giving Miami fresh sets of downs in the red zone. This a goal-to-go situation. They got a free set of downs.
I mean, football's such a highly emotional game. I get it. Nobody talked more stuff out on the football field than me, but I can tell you this. In these kind of situations, you have to walk away and not cost your football team. You cannot leave it in the hands of the referees.
Canes, trick play, swing pass. That might be a loose ball. Was that a backwards pass from Fletcher? Have they blown this play dead? It is scooped up, and now they'll say that that was not a backwards pass.
Incomplete forward pass.
That is the correct call. You can see where Mark Fletcher is right here at about the 11.5-yard line. And Carson Beck catches that ball at about the 13-yard line, or rather misses the catch at about the 13. Offensive coordinators always like to get tricky, man. Sometimes when they get down here in the red area, it's the area of the football field that you see them always almost start to outthink themselves instead of staying with the fundamentals. But here, Pitt has new life. You must force the field goal here.
Braylon Lovelace had a 100-yard pick 6 last week. And now Pat Narduzzi runs down to call a timeout defensively. And Lovelace thought he was off to the races again.
Pittsburgh.
But a good call by the officials. It was a forward pass and a big 3rd and goal when we come back.
ABC College Football, presented by Starbucks, is brought to you by Ram Trucks, official sponsor of the College Football Playoff. Nothing stops Ram.
Kenny Pickett was a freshman quarterback back on Black Friday in 2017 when 4-7 Pitt pulled off the upset. And they beat number 2 undefeated Miami 24-14. They're trying to pull off another upset today, but making it hard on themselves. 8 penalties for 73 yards, 2 huge calls on this drive alone. And Malachi Toney has been the story for Miami offensively. After the timeout called by Pat Narduzzi, the 3rd down and goal for the Canes. Fletcher right up the gut, spinning at the goal line. Does he break the plane? Yes, he does for a Canes touchdown. And Miami a point after away from a 3-score lead.
This is just pure power football. Mark Fletcher, 225+ pounds. And you can see the impact that he has at the point of attack. Kyle Lewis comes in there to try and put a hit on him. The safety's trying to fill down in the A-gaps on him, and he just carries everyone with him into the end zone. That's answering the challenge that Shannon Dawson posed to him this week, which was, can you run with more authority? Can you run behind your pads with more authority and get the tough yardage? He's just going to come right downhill. And just look at the impact that he has at the point of attack right before he gets to the goal line. Just right there. And you see the safety, number 12, Cruz Brookins, come in and try and put a hit on him, but there's nothing you can do when that train starts rolling down the tracks. There's just nothing you can do.
After calling the option pass on 2nd down, you're wondering, and maybe Mark Fletcher was as well, what were we waiting for? Just bully ball right up the middle, and that was, in addition to the penalties, Lewis, a big part of that drive. Miami's run game, and they just seem to exert their will against the Pitt defense.
Yeah, that 12-play, 75-yard TD drive that they just went on, I mean, that obviously was aided, as you said, like by Pitt's judgment errors, not controlling your emotions, understand the circumstances of the game, Don't get into jawing matches with these players, man, when you're trying to give your offense more chances to get back out on the field. Now you're down 3 scores against a Miami defense that is going to be dialing up the pass rusher you can count on.
Mason Heinchel is going to be out there to start the next Pitt possession as Deuce Spann gets a chance for a return, and he won't get much. Driven back at about the 17-yard line. And this week on Sunday NFL Countdown at 10 a.m. Eastern on ESPN and the ESPN app, a breakdown of the latest AFC and NFC playoff stakes heading into tomorrow's games. And then Monday Night Football, the Patriots and the Giants, 8 Eastern on ESPN, ESPN Deportes, the all-new ESPN app with Peyton and Eli once again on ESPN2. And as a Jets guy, it just warms my heart to see the Patriots back up atop the AFC East standings. It's just tremendous. I missed it. It's been a while. First down run and a loss of a yard for Boosie Turner. Justin Scott, the 6th tackle for loss today for the Miami defense.
You can see these edge defenders that are in charge of making sure that they set the edge and don't let this ball get out on the perimeter, how conscious they are of how well Boosie Turner runs these bounce plays and can get on the perimeter and just rip you for plus 20, plus 30-yard gains.
Heinchel to Turner. Stays in bounds, makes one man miss, but then the cavalry arrives for the Canes. And he may have gotten the yard back. Mo Toure missed the tackle, but Justin Scott was there for support. So now it's 3rd down and long. 3rd and 11.
I think the passing game obviously has given Pitt a lot of success in different spurts of this football game so far. They've been able to find some zone voids in the middle of the field, down the field, plus 10, plus 15 yards. They have to start attacking there. I just don't think they're going to be able to run the football with consistent effectiveness.
They run it here, and they're not going to get anywhere near the 1st down. So you're going to go for it on 4th down from inside your own 25-yard line. Now here comes the punt group. And that is not going to make the Pitt Panther fans happy here at Acrisure Stadium. Midway through the 3rd quarter, Miami forces a 3-and-out.
Look, I can understand maybe you feel as though, look, you still got 7:52 left here in the 3rd quarter, that you can remain balanced as far as your attack. But Mason Heinchel has made some really good decisions, and the passing game has been good. You're going to have to find some ways to produce some chunk plays.
Wobbly punt from Caleb Junko, and Tony with a fair catch at the U41-yard line. We return with a look at the All-State playoff predictor. As things stand right now, Miami 17% to reach the 12-team playoff. If they hold on and win this game, that jumps up to 25%. Of course, Pittsburgh was a long shot. SMU and Virginia both favored to win their games today. If they do, then one of those 2 teams will be in the college football playoff because they'll play next Saturday night on ABC at 8 Eastern in the ACC championship game. Should Miami's odds be higher? And should that win over Notre Dame count for more than the committee has said it counts for to this point? There goes Pringle. The true freshman down the sideline, Gerard Pringle. A check play in the run game for the Canes. And they're back in business again.
And you see the offensive line, you see the center, Brockermeyer, get great position, and then Pringle is able to make the safety miss coming down in the alley, and then he's out the gate and has to be run down by Kyle Lewis. But this is just great blocking at the point of attack. It all starts with the center, James Brockermeyer, who I think is one of the unsung heroes of this offensive line as it relates to the running game. He is a tone setter for this punishing Miami ground attack.
Screen to Tony. Broke a tackle. What balance to stay on his feet. All Cruz Brookins could do is get up and say, man, I thought I had him, but Tony escaped.
You're just wondering, like they were taking a look to see if that left knee hit the ground, but you can see Tony here one-on-one in space. He is just a nightmare.
I think he stayed up, Lewis.
Yeah, he gets that left hand down. That left knee comes close, but it never touches. I mean, that's just... Just another example of just how dynamic this young man is as an athlete.
They may want to review it just to be sure. But as things stand now, it'd be 1st and goal, Canes at the 9-yard line. And it certainly looked like Malachi Tony kept his knees off the ground.
Timeout. The previous play is under further review to see if the runner's arm hit the ground.
And if his forearm comes down, there is a good look. A reverse angle. We saw the hand plant, but the forearm being down, it looks like is going to potentially end up moving the Canes back a bit. Again, the ACC Game Day Operations Center in Charlotte will take a look.
So this is the shot that just came in from the program,
Right.
and now we're going to be able to look at that. So let's show replay D, and then see now that we see that we have a forearm down. We're going to overturn the ruling on the field, and we're going to put it down where the forearm is there.
Right.
So we had a first down, and now we're going to have a second down. We're going to overturn the ruling on the field. We'll have Miami ball, and we're going to have second down. And we're going to be putting this at the 16-yard line, and this will be 2nd and 5.
Gotcha.
And we're going to be at #1. Is everybody in agreement?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Yep. After further review, the runner's forearm hit the ground at the 16-yard line. The ball will be brought back to that spot, 2nd down.
Well, listening into the ACC Game Day Operations Center should become the standard in every league in sports.
Yeah, it should. No question. No question. They're able to piece together all the different camera angles and arrive at the most accurate decision that they can possibly arrive at and make sure that the game is being officiated fairly and equitably. And there's a great example of it. Had a great angle, a great look at it. The right wrist forearm of Malachi Tony hitting the ground down at that spot.
Malachi Tony lines up again to take the direct snap. Shamar Brown to his right. Straight run to the corner. Turns the corner. Malachi Tony, 1st and goal, Canes, as he cruises out of bounds at the 4.
There's a nice top of Shamar Brown out there on the perimeter, blocking on the edge man on the line of scrimmage, on run support. Malachi Tony just making a nice effort to just get to the edge and then get the ball upfield. You don't set the edges against this running game with the speed and dynamic playmakers that they make. They're just going to rip you for +8, +10-yard runs. Miami's starting to really dial it up, this punishing ground attack.
And they've got their jumbo group on the field. They hand it to Shamar Brown. He gets a shove. He's at the goal line, and he's in for another Canes touchdown with a flag thrown right at the end of the play.
It's just another example of just the size of the Miami offensive line starting to exert.
Assisting the runner, offense number 78. 5-yard penalty, 1st down.
So take away the touchdown. As they'll say, Matthew McCoy illegally assisted Shamar Brown.
You're going to see it right at the end.
So the clock will start on the snap of the football.
Well, Matt Austin is our officiating expert. And Matt, we see the tush push. That obviously is legal. That was more of a pull of the runner into the end zone. Is that what you see?
Well, it was. This call is hardly ever called on the field. Yes, he's trying to pull, but there was 2 guys pushing first. By the time he pulled him, he was already across the goal line. So I don't really like this call much.
It looked like you're right. The ball probably broke the plane before the pull took place. So a break for Pitt, at least for now. Shamar Brown, gang tackled behind the line of scrimmage. So now it's going to be 2nd down and goal from the 9. Rasheem Biles arrived first for Pitt. Francis Brew is there as well.
So now that they got another opportunity here to try and make a play and create some kind of turnover, Pitt has to sell out. They have to sell out as far as trying to get this ball back without Miami putting more points on the board. But this is a football team that is feasted off of creating turnovers. We talked about it, how Braylon Lovelace had the 100-yard pick six a week ago. They've had multiple interceptions in 3 straight games this season. They got to find a way to come up with something here again.
Tony in motion. Beck looks end zone. Instead flips it to a wide open Shamar Brown for a walk-in score for Miami. So Shamar Brown lost his rushing touchdown, but now gets it right back receiving. His second receiving score of the season, and the Canes extend their lead.
Pitt just selling out to try and create some pressure, and Shamar Brown just leaks through the line of scrimmage out to the left flat. No one relates to him. Pitt defense loses leverage on him. You're just going to see Shamar Brown here. He's just going to leak right out here into the flat. You're going to see 2 underneath droppers. You're going to see a safety drop down here in the box as well. So basically just playing 3 deep, 2 under. And they just lose track of him. It's easy, just walk in. That's the risk you run when you vacate zones, trying to create more pressure by sending extra defenders after the quarterback. If you don't get there before he's able to find the uncovered outlet, that's what's going to wind up happening. And they protect it just long enough to get the ball to Shamar Brown. Carson Beck just continues the hot month that he has had throwing the football, and he has looked sharp here today.
We talked about the style points last week that Miami may not have been loading up against Virginia Tech. It is a different story this week against a ranked opponent on the road. Right now Miami is beating Pitt and on the way possibly to beating them in this building, even worse than Notre Dame beat them a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah, for all the people who say that style points don't matter, yes they do. And this right here is an impressive performance. This is a dominating performance on the part of the Miami Hurricanes in basically all phases. And that score is indicative of that. 31-7 with 4:28 left in the third.
Well, if you want a scoreboard watch this game coming up at 3:30 Eastern on ABC and the ESPN app. LSU will take on Oklahoma. And then another game for Miami to keep their eyes on. Auburn, Alabama in the Iron Bowl at 7:30 as Brent Venables and the Sooners are trying to lock up a spot in the college football playoff. Will they with a win today? Right now they're ranked 8th. So they're on the right side of the bubble. Miami right now on the outside looking in, but they have looked tremendous today. Mason Heichel, incomplete. Trying to squeeze one into a tight window to C.J. Lee.
You know, ironically, one of the things that people talk about when we're talking about comparing resumes and comparing styles of play and how teams progress throughout the year and whether or not their play is ascending or descending, a lot of arguments have been made for Notre Dame, and rightfully so, at the level of football that they're playing. How they look when they're playing the game relative to how they looked week 1 when they lost to the Miami Hurricanes. Look at the Miami Hurricanes over the past month. You're going to tell me this isn't an ascending football team? You're going to tell me this isn't one of the top 12 teams, top 10 teams in the country? This team is playing as good as anyone. With the way that they're hitting on all cylinders offensively now, run game, pass game, defensively, they can rush the passer. They can absolutely shut you down in the run game. In the return game, they can rip you for explosive plays there. This is one of the best teams in the country.
And the Miami argument, and I agree with it, if the win week 1 doesn't matter in the conversation, then why play it? Why schedule it?
Exactly.
If you're not going to get credit for that head-to-head win against Notre Dame. And if they get into a close enough conversation with Notre Dame, and they beat them.
Right, and these are the kind of games that matter when you start having that discussion too.
Heichel finds C.J. Lee running free. Lee's down the sideline, and boy, that was a great job by Mason Heichel to climb the pocket, keep his composure.
And he is just very good at this as a young quarterback now with making his 8th start. He's just got great pocket awareness. He's got that moxie. He's got the instincts to then be able to relocate where all his wide receivers are, find the open guy, and throw a strike.
Little jump cut. Jakiri and Turner. And Boosie Turner picks up 2. Hakeem Mesidor made the stop.
For Pitt, it's about continuing to keep their foot on the gas here and continuing to operate with some urgency and try and get another score on the board. But they're not going to lay down. They're not going to let Miami just continue to try and build their resume.
Backwards pass. Bryce Yates launches one, incomplete. He tried to find Malachi Thomas, the tight end, on the backwards pass option and just overthrew him. So the trick play falls short for Pitt. That'll make it 3rd down and 8.
It's a nice play designed by Kate Bell, the offensive coordinator. Just a little bit overthrown.
Brings up 13.
Can they find a way to get this ball to Boosie Turner out of the backfield? He's just such a threat as a receiver. We've seen how these running backs.
They'll run it here with Boosie Turner in what is obvious 4-down territory at this point for Pitt. That makes it 4th and manageable, 4th and 3.
I think if you're Miami, you're figuring, look, we do not want to take our foot off the gas pedal either. We want to hold this team to 7 points. We want to continue to build our own resume. And you see Mario Cristobal over there just encouraging his defense and his staff over there on the sideline. Do not take your foot off the gas.
4th down. Swing pass. Caught. Right at the line to gain. Miami thinks they've got a stop on Justin Holmes. Do they? Where will they spot the football?
Short of the stick.
It's a heck of an attempt by
Xavier Lucas was over there to help on the stop, and it looks like he's short. That should be a takeaway on downs for the Canes. Based on where they have it spotted now, he's a half yard short. It is Miami ball. And look at the defensive coordinator, Corey Heatherman, right in the middle of all of that with Mario Cristobal.
The ball goes over on downs.
That's just excellent extra effort by Xavier Lucas. Watch the corner number 6 as Mesidor makes the first hit, and then here comes Xavier Lucas just throwing that shoulder in there to hold him short of the 1st down marker.
Well, again, the ACC Game Day Operations Center, a couple things to look at. The ball also jarred free. Did it make the line to gain? Let's listen in.
Riley.
Okay, guys. The ruling on the field, the ball came out.
Okay.
It went backwards behind the line to gain.
Got it. So with this one, we have the ball as there's no progress. We have a fumble. The ruling on the field was a fumble with the ball going out of bounds, correct?
Correct.
Okay, so when we're looking at this here, we're going to see the contact with the defender. We're going to now check the feet of the runner, which if we go to the far handheld, Remus, we're going to go look at this, and we're going to see that the runner is inbounds, and then the ball comes out. And then the ball comes out behind the goal line, the line to gain. The ruling on the field is upheld based off of all of this. Is everybody in agreement?
I agree.
Okay, I'm looking at anything else coming in, and
Anything else?
we're in a good place. They're all the same. The ruling on the field is upheld, everybody.
All right, first
Thanks,
down,
everyone.
First down on the 31, Riley.
After further review, the ruling on the field is upheld.
And the Miami sideline is reacting as if they got a stop on downs in a tied game.
Yeah,
they know how important all of these points and the margin of victory is.
Yeah, do not tell me that, how you win doesn't matter. Of course it matters. I mean, Mario Cristobal is showing you right there. They want to play to a standard. They want a very convincing, thorough type of football game played here. And they want to come out of this game with a very convincing, thorough type of win. And the extra effort right there that Xavier Lucas just showed you, obviously that message was delivered to his players, and they are executing.
Pringle brought down for a 1-yard loss. And this reaction from Mario Cristobal says it all.
No question. And that's how he is every time we talk to him on production meetings. You can see the pride that he has in this university, having been a very good Miami football player of his own. You know, back in the late 80s, early 90s, he played on some great football teams, and he thinks this football team can be great. And they are playing their very best football right now over the past month.
A couple of freshmen in the backfield. And instead, Beck going to float one down the sideline. It is tipped and incomplete. Flag out. Shadarian Harrison on another freshman, Dalen Upshaw. And it's going to be pass interference, it looks like, against Harrison.
Pass interference, defense number 21. 15-yard penalty from the previous spot. Automatic first down.
Look, it's an excellent job of playing press man coverage at the at the onset of the snap. You just cannot impede the wide receiver's ability to get down the field. You got to turn into the wide receiver and make it unquestioned whether or not you are now the guy who's in control of the down. And here you see it.
Well, it's 31-7, and there have been some undisciplined penalties for Pat Narduzzi's team, but that looked like pretty good coverage.
No, it was. It was great coverage for the first 2/3 of the down. You just got to become the wide receiver and leave no doubt in the referee's mind that you're the one in control of the down.
Floating pass, scooped up by Tony. That was a deflected ball out of the hands of Carson Beck. Bruce Brookins made the stop on Tony after a gain of 4.
Well, he must have scooped that ball right off the tops of the blades of grass. That ball looked really low. Whew. That's great concentration on the part of Malachi Tony. And as you can see, they are continuing to operate this offense with the intent on getting this ball down the field and putting this ball in the end zone again.
I think that teenager number 10's got a future in this game.
Yeah, I mean, he's...
Man, oh man, there goes a single. Breaking tackles, getting a push. And it looks like he's got a first down. And moving up the single season receptions chart in Miami history is the true freshman Malachi Tony. He reclassified. He should be in high school.
Yeah. And look at that, just 4 catches short of tying the record, 5 of breaking it. Don't think for a second that Mario Cristobal isn't aware of that.
That will take us down to the end of the 3rd quarter. He was only a 3-star prospect, by the way. They might want to get that one.
Stars, yeah.
We'll come back after these messages and a word from our ABC stations.
He's got all the stars now.
We're about 15 minutes away from Miami adding another ranked win to their resume. They would be 4-0, assuming there's not going to be a miracle 4th quarter comeback by Pitt. So, Lewis, this probably becomes a big argument and a case certainly for the U to be made with the committee. They beat Notre Dame head-to-head. Right now, Notre Dame 9th and Miami 12th.
Yeah, and look, I've heard people talk about the fact that when they watch Notre Dame play, that they look like a team that's ascending and one of the best teams in the country. Well, when you watch Miami today, what do you see? Do you see one of the best teams in the country? Do you see a well-balanced offense, defense, special teams, dynamic playmaking ability? They've got it all. It'll be an interesting debate in that room. Are they going to be in the discussion for inclusion in the college football playoff or not? We'll see how this weekend unfolds. But as far as how they look on this football field right here today, this team can play with anyone.
You're in that room, and they take the vote. Is that head-to-head win for Miami over Notre Dame your deciding factor?
Well, look, if you can say that, if you feel as though once you look at all the different criteria and you look at how both of these teams look currently, how they looked against, you know, all the different metrics that they're going to use to try and rank these teams, and if you come out to where you feel as though they are equal and you have to find some kind of tiebreaker, head-to-head has to matter. I don't care when it happened. It has to matter. Otherwise, as Mario Cristobal has said, why would you even schedule these games in the first place if head-to-head didn't matter because it happened in week 1?
Right.
If you're saying all that matters is currently how you look, well, how do they look right now currently? it'll be an interesting. I would love to be in the room to hear them arrive at the decision that they're ultimately going to arrive at.
Third down. Pitt brings a blitz. Skied for Tony. And he couldn't locate it over his shoulder. And Chris, you've done the mock selection. You've been in that room and had at least a mock debate. I know you talked to Malachi Tony after last week's game.
Yeah, after their win yesterday, I asked him if he felt like they had anything to prove to the selection committee with their win down in Blacksburg. And he said, listen, we just go out here and handle our business. We can't do anything about how the selection committee views us. But then at the same time, they were throwing a touchdown with 26 seconds left when the game was out of hand. So you did get a feeling of we do have something to prove in terms of style points if we're doing that.
Mario Cristobal, he told us, even discussing the previous games against Syracuse and NC State, said, look, I put my 2s and 3s in the game late. Am I supposed to regret the fact that Syracuse scored a late touchdown or NC State scored a late touchdown in games that were over? I mean, this is kind of the hand we're dealt. And he was reacting to the hand that they were dealt last week in a game that was over with a flag down.
Offense. Penalties decline. 4th down.
It's not an accident. They were throwing a ball to Malachi Tony on 4th down with 25 seconds to go in a game that was over. It was the NFL last week. Miami would have taken a knee. Look, but it's not.
Look, they understand what they're up against. They just have to play their very best football that they can possibly play and let the other decision makers arrive at the conclusion they're going to arrive at.
That punt right down to the pylon and kept out of the end zone. Can't do it much better than that if you're Bryce Fitzgerald. 1-yard line, the line of scrimmage. Will Miami make the college football playoff? Well, we've been talking about the debate between Miami and Notre Dame. If it comes to that, of course, if they get the results they need, they might not even need that debate. Their potential path to an at-large bid. Oklahoma plays LSU coming up next. The Iron Bowl's later on tonight. Right now, BYU only has a field goal lead at halftime against UCF. And Notre Dame, of course, closing out their season later on tonight on the West Coast. So they would need 2 of those 4 teams to lose, theoretically, to jump up to the 10 spot. And Notre Dame and Miami could both make it if the right teams were to lose. And right now, Miami is doing everything, Lewis, that they can do and handling the only business that they can handle, as they have dominated Pitt for the most part in this game.
Which is exactly what Mario Cristobal has said time and time again. And you can just see by the nature in which they're getting after this quarterback here. Again, now they're sending 5 rushers, trying to get some extra heat on the passer, see if they can force Mason Heinzel into an errant throw, maybe a pick-6 type of situation, maybe a safety type of situation. They are not letting up one bit.
From the end zone, and this time he finds Jake Overman, and the tight end has a 1st down.
Look, we knew coming into this football game that this Hurricane football team was getting healthier and healthier. But they were still missing 2 guys on the defensive side of the ball. David Blay, O.J. Frederick didn't play today. 2 really good players for them. Keontae Scott, the do-it-all, everything star defender who was, I think, just one of the best defensive backs in the country. So down 3 critical players on the defensive side of the ball, and they have still played about as good as you could possibly play for the better part of this game.
Mitchell out to the perimeter, hoping for C.J. Lee. Flag comes out. And it looks like Damari Brown may be called for a Miami penalty.
Pass interference, defense number 2. The ball will be placed at the spot of the foul and an automatic 1st down.
You see Damari Brown, just great passage at the line of scrimmage again. That right hand gets up on the shoulder pad, though, as the receiver is trying to put on the brakes and come back on that comeback route.
Heinzel over the shoulder attempt, and Poppy Williams nearly hauled it in.
What a nice adjustment on the part of Poppy Williams. It looked like he was just going to run a curl, and really he ran kind of like a stutter and go. Almost comes down with a difficult catch over the outside shoulder. against Bryce Fitzgerald. Give these Pitt players credit. They're continuing to fight as well. Mason Heinzel coming back from what looked like a really painful ankle injury before the end of the first half. Continuing to fire this football down the field, trying to make plays.
Four-man rush. There's Boosie Turner with the bobble. And boy, did he get walloped by Jacoby Thomas.
We've seen both of these safeties for Miami. Jacoby Thomas, number 8, and then Zechariah Poyser. These guys will lay the hammer on you now in the middle of the field.
Up-tempo third down. And again, not much there on the check down to Boosie Turner as Wesley Bassane made the tackle 3 yards short of a first down. So now it's going to be 4th down and 3. And I think Pitt is going to punt. So Pat Narduzzi waving the white flag here a bit as some of the offensive players seem a bit frustrated coming off the field for Pitt. They were hoping to go for it.
It is 4th and 3. I mean, I can understand why they want to get out there and try and continue to extend the drive.
Malachi Toney, fair catch at the 35-yard line. We will come right back to Pittsburgh in a moment.
ABC College Football is presented by the Starbucks Coffee Company.
Our thanks to our crew, as they have made Louis Riddick, Bob Wischusen, myself, and Chris Budden look very good all season. We can't appreciate this crew more because pretty much everyone that you're seeing in this picture spent the Thanksgiving holiday here in Pittsburgh getting us set for this broadcast. You guys are the best, and thank you so much for everything that you've done to be away from your families on a holiday weekend as well.
And yes, we all choose to do this job, but it doesn't take away from the fact that you make some sacrifices in order to do this great job that we do. And they do it as well as anyone. We just get up here and talk and watch football. They make the whole engine run. It's awesome.
And talent is a very loose term. Malachi Toney on the jet sweep, 11 yards and a first down. And based on the fact that every little metric, every little comparison matters, based on the fact that a couple of games ago, Notre Dame won here against Pitt 37-15, Miami being up 31-7, and all their starters are in the game for a reason, Lewis, and the gas pedal remains down.
Yeah. I mean, it's just playing out on the football field. They know what it all means. They're going to continue to try and execute at a high level here. And if you're Pitt, you're like, hey, look, you're not trying to build a resume off of us. Now pride comes into it, no question about it.
Braylon Lovelace makes the Pitt stop on Fletcher. Gain of 1.5 yards.
Yeah, every single starter for Miami on the offensive line, on the perimeter, quarterback, every single starter is in this football game. 10:37 and counting. And that is for a reason.
Another catch for Toney. And another first down. He is over 100 yards receiving now for the 4th time this season.
It's just the acceleration, the field vision right here to make the first defender miss. Just put that left foot in the ground, fake like you're going to go upfield and then come back inside, stay low to the ground. Good center of gravity and pad level. And all the things that you hear coaches preach about all the time, he just does all of them naturally. As he inches closer and closer and closer to Miami receiving records.
There he is again. Tiptoes down the sideline, and they'll say he stepped out about 1.5 yards short of another Miami first down. Canes on their way to their 8th win this season by at least 17 points. Ohio State, Texas Tech have both done that 10 times. Utah has also done it 8 times. So Miami would tie Utah for 3rd most 17-point wins in America if the margin stays where it is, as Fletcher picks up the first down.
they really have coming out of that SMU game. That was kind of a turning point for them. They really went to work and put it on Syracuse. NC State was one of their better performances, and then we saw them in Blacksburg a week ago. This offense has scored 34 or more points all 3 of those weeks. Carson Beckley's, let's look at the tear that he is on. I mean, 8 touchdowns, no interceptions, almost 300 yards per game. And I know that completion percentage of 80%, people say, well, a lot of that has to do with the short intermediate passing game. This young man can throw the football down the field.
End around to Tony. Stays on his feet. Ends up getting pounded out of bounds. Cruz Brookins, again, wasn't able to get him down with the first contact. And, Lewis, you mentioned it, the numbers that Carson Beck has been putting up since that overtime SMU loss.
And there you go today. He's just going to tack on two more touchdowns, another 200-plus yard performance, another 80%-plus completion percentage day. And look, we've seen it here. We've been sitting here watching it. He looks comfortable in the pocket. He is seeing the field. He can pick up first downs when he needs to. He looks like he's having fun. His body language is great. I mean, everything is clicking for this football team right now. Since that seems to be something people want to talk about, is how are teams playing right now? How are they looking right now? Are they better than they were at the beginning of the season? Miami looks like they have recaptured that momentum they had coming out of the gates when they beat Notre Dame on August 31st.
And specifically with Beck, you dive into the draft as deep as anyone does. He made the decision to come back to college football, take his name out of the draft pool, go into the portal, comes to Miami. Where do you put him in that quarterback conversation with the numbers he's putting up?
Yeah, it's going to be fun for me as, you know, the college season winds down and then we start that long journey up to the draft, which coincidentally is going to be held right here in Pittsburgh this spring, to really take a look at all these quarterbacks this year, because they've all had their moments. They've all looked fantastic, from Dante Moore to Fernando Mendoza.
There isn't that one clear-cut guy at the top of the draft like a Trevor Lawrence that everybody knows is going to be the number one pick.
They've all had some great moments. I can't wait to get into the tape and really evaluate those guys and see which guys fit best where, and I love that part of it. It's been fun the past couple of years.
Can you pick my Jets a winner, please?
Well, some team is going to. It won't be me, but some team's going to try to, that's for sure. I'm going to be sitting right here on this desk in a couple of months, having a lot of fun doing it.
Underthrown. It looked like Carson Beck wanted to pull that one back, and Cruz Brookins scoops up an interception. Did we just announce her jinx, number 11? Pitt with a takeaway with 6:18 to go. John Mateer getting set as Oklahoma next will take on LSU. The Sooners trying to cement a spot in the college football playoff. And you saw a moment ago, December 7th at noon, we will find out the last and final rankings and who will be in the college football playoff. Will Miami have a spot? Is this likely their final game, as Heinzel lifts one down the sideline out of bounds? We know Notre Dame's going to play their last game tonight because they can't play in a conference championship game, and Miami would need a lot to break their way to play in the ACC title game. So most likely it'll be a 10-2 finish for the Canes, and this will be the first time that they have finished with back-to-back 10-win seasons since going all the way back to 2002-2003. Heinzel checks one down to Justin Cook. He's a yard short of the first down. Mo Toure made the tackle. Bob Wischusen, Louis Riddick, Chris Budden. It was a lot of fun talking again to Mario Cristobal this week about where his head is at, where his team is at. Swing pass to the near side, and Poppy Williams has a first down, and they have come out and executed really start to finish, Lewis, about as well as could be expected. And another terrific performance by a defense that is only allowing barely more than 14 points a game this year.
Yeah, like he said, he wouldn't allow himself to get into all the different, possibilities once this game was ended. He really wanted to focus in and dial in on this team's performance in this game. And you can see he has his guys locked in here too now. We're almost inside of 5 minutes in this football game, and every single one of his starters on the defensive side still out there in a game that they are leading 31-7.
And last season, they were a defense that gave up over 25 points per game. This year, as you can see, barely over 2 touchdowns per game, and living up to all of those numbers. All of these rankings put them in the top 12 in the country. Number 7 overall in points allowed. Last year, they were number 70. So there is the impact of Corey Heatherman coming in as the defensive coordinator.
And who's been more fun to talk to than him? And all the different production meetings we've had this year, I got a chance to talk to him down on the field. And he was just so appreciative of the different conversations we've had with him as he's described his own personal journey to where he is now and how he continues to coach this team as hard as possible. I mean, look at him. They're up 31-7, and look at him. You would think this is a 2-minute situation in the national championship game, and the score is tied.
He does not need any caffeinated drinks. He's just fine. He's got all the energy he needs. 3rd down and 7. 5-man rush. Heinchel finds a crosser, but no room to run. C.J. Lee
and we
took a hit from Jacoby Thomas.
We haven't mentioned the name of Jason Taylor, the Hall of Fame defensive end who tutors the defensive ends on this football team, Akeem Mesidor and Ruben Bain, who have played a very solid football game here today. But look, Corey Heatherman told us the big difference was the communication and the closeness of this unit this year as opposed to last year. And they have just made such a dramatic improvement this year. And Mario Cristobal told us, can you imagine this year's defense with last year's offense? They'd be national title contenders, bar none.
Yeah, the only defensive coach that Mario Cristobal brought back from last year was Jason Taylor.
And you see it here immediately to start the game. Ahmad Moten just wins in the one-on-one pass rush and gets the sack early on in the football game. Ruben Bain, who's going to be a first-round draft pick. You see the power that he rushes with. I mean, that's what he is. He looks like a defensive tackle playing defensive end like Aaron Donald. And then here, you just got 3 guys. You've got all 3 of them. You've got Mesidor, you got Bain, and you got Moten just all converging on the quarterback. And there you see Jason Taylor on the sideline with his guys. Again, up 31-7, continuing to coach them. 4 sacks, 6 TFLs, 4 quarterback hits today. You knew that this defensive line was going to be tough to contain. They'd be tough to handle. And they proved that once again.
And when you see Bain and Mesidor specifically, their technique, you know, they're being tutored by a Hall of Famer. Where do you think you see the biggest influence from a guy like Jason Taylor on how those 2 guys play?
Well, he knows that ideally in the NFL, they don't have maybe ideal measurables in terms of arm length, height, what scouts like to call physical ranginess. They're more stout, compact guys. Like if you look at Ruben Bain Jr. down on the football field, he looks like a defensive tackle. Right. But he's got the flexibility and the power and explosiveness of a defensive end. So what Jason likes to tell you is like, hey, look, he's going to he teaches these guys the differences in terms of get off quickness, foot placement, hand placement, pad level, leverage, reading the backs in the backfield, protections, all that stuff to give them a competitive advantage to win more times than not, even if they don't have the ideal physical measurables. And that's what it comes down to, just playing football. And these guys can play football, man.
Well, according to Mel Kiper Jr., the top 2 pass rushers in college football projected certainly towards the top of the draft. Who knows, Ruben Bain might go first overall, but it's Bain and Mesidor right now as top 2 prospects at defensive end in the NFL draft. Yeah, which makes this team that much more dangerous were they to get into the college football playoff, because they've got pass rushers that can wreck a game.
That's right. In a sudden death type of situation, winner take all type of situation, I'd put this defensive line up against any offensive line or any other defense in college football.
A rugby scrum, and Shamar Brown just won't go down. And that will take us down to the 2-minute timeout. So it will be 2 minutes remaining before Miami cements back-to-back 10-win seasons, as Mario Cristobal's team doing all they can do to impress the committee. Louis Riddick, your keys to victory. It's been a dominant performance today for Miami.
It sure has. Efficiency versus the blitz. Carson Beck handled it well. Only 2 sacks allowed as an offense. Defensively for Pitt, only allowed less than 100 yards. Miami ran for 134 yards, but it was the punishing nature of some of those runs I really think took a toll on Pitt's defense late. Offensively for Pitt, averaged 4+ yards on first down, 20 plays, 2.3 average. You saw them in those long second and third down type of situations. That's just not where they want to be. And then defensively for Miami, 4 or more sacks. They're right at 4. They have really dominated in certain aspects and certain points of the game with their defensive line. A thorough performance.
Bouncing is Shamar Brown, and he'll go down at the line of scrimmage. A timeout called.
Timeout, Pittsburgh. That is the
Pat Narduzzi is going to use his timeouts.
Game clock operator set the clock to 1:53.
Look, gives us a chance to take a look at the day Malachi Tony has held power.
Yeah, look, he's just a do-it-all weapon. We've talked about it all afternoon, and he is as fun as anybody in college football to watch. Carson Beck just continuing to execute the offense with peak efficiency over the past month. And then the power running game, the downhill running game, running behind that massive 330-pound plus interior of the Miami offensive line. And then the play calling and the different variations that they hit you with as far as their play action passing game. It all ends up to having almost a 400-yard total offensive day, 5.5 yards per play. That's just a good day's work if you're a Miami Hurricane fan. And now the fun starts. Do you get in or don't you?
3rd down and 5 after Pitt used a timeout. They'll rush 4. Beck. That's a first down catch. C.J. Daniels, number 6 among active receivers in career yards. He piled up yards at Liberty, briefly at LSU as well, and he's over 2,800 career yards now. Let's see if Miami goes to victory formation. We're going to keep on running plays here with 90 seconds to go. And they run it with Brown. 7 more yards for Shamar Brown. LSU Oklahoma is coming up next. Kip Lewis, the leading tackler for the Sooners, will try and shut down LSU and do the best that the Sooners can do to cement a spot in the college football playoff, as they are in the top 8. And as long as you are in the top 10, you're going to get one of those at-large bids. Play action for Beck. He's going to take a shot for C.J. Daniels into the end zone. Oh, he caught it for a touchdown. With a defender right in his face, C.J. Daniels adds to the Miami lead.
Basically the same way they topped off the game last week with the touchdown pass to Malachi Tony. This is a heck of an individual effort by C.J. Daniels.
Wow.
I mean, it's nice for them to have him back. He had missed a few games due to injury. He started off the season with that fantastic one-hand catch against Notre Dame in the red zone, where he went up and just snagged it out of the air with one hand. And here maybe he finishes their regular season with the same kind of spectacular catch to really put an explanation point on this game.
Wonder if that deep pass in any way was a reaction to Pat Narduzzi using a timeout. All right, we're just trying to run the ball to kind of end the game here. I guess if Pitt calls timeout, we'll take another shot.
Look at the release out there on the top of your screen to the right. And Carson Beck just lays it up and says, hey, just go up and make a 50-50 ball type of win. Great release. Defensive back is never able to get his hands on him. And then here, the ball slightly underthrown, works back through the defensive back. I mean, that's as good as it gets. That's as good as it gets.
That's the 28th career receiving touchdown collegiately for C.J. Daniels. And that is his 7th this season, right atop the ACC touchdown reception standings. He was in a tie for first coming into today, so at least for now he's in first place by himself. And Carson Beck now with 25 touchdown passes this season against 10 interceptions. Touchback with Deuce Spann receiving. Well, Miami needs a lot of help, but they are now just behind Virginia and SMU, so they would need either the Who's or the Ponies to be upset in their final games of the season, and then to get some other tiebreakers to go their way, but they are not totally out of it in terms of making the ACC championship game. And if the Canes make that game, they would control their destiny. They wouldn't even need the committee to worry about debating them against Notre Dame.
And there you see them sitting at the number 12 team in the country, and they can't even make their own conference championship game.
Heinschel is intercepted. Bryce Fitzgerald picks off Heinschel, and he gets a chance to celebrate, and that will be the final exclamation point for the Canes.
Thorough performance by this football team here today.
4th pick of the freshman season for Bryce Fitzgerald.
There's no way you can look at this football team and say it isn't one of the best teams in the country. Cannot wait to see the decision-making process that is undertaken as far as trying to determine what are the 12 best teams in the country and let them go at it.
Well, Mario Cristobal said it. You can see since 2003-4, when they went back-to-back 10-win seasons, it's great for college football for the Canes to be back, even just in the conversation they're in right now. It's Miami back atop the college football conversation at the very least, and they will be a very interesting topic of conversation with this 38-7 win over Pitt.
Yeah, I think the committee wants to get the 12 best teams into this postseason. I don't envy the job that they're going to have to undertake now as the rest of this day plays out. But this football team right here that we have now seen for the 3rd time this season, in my opinion, it should be one of them.
38-7 is your final. Malachi Tony, another tremendous performance. But historic freshman season for Tony. And all smiles for Carson Beck. Why not? 3 more touchdown receptions and a little bit of a gathering in midfield. A little bit of a jawing back and forth at a couple of different spots. But you can see mostly good sportsmanship between Pitt and the Canes.
Yeah, mostly.
Let's go down to Chris.
Back-to-back 10-win seasons for you guys. When you look at this season as a whole and playing some of your best football down this stretch, what are you most proud of right now?
Well, the fact that this is a college football playoff team. I think we've all seen it. We know it. Proud of the way our guys came out, dominated from start to finish. And certainly we left a lot of points on the board as well. But, you know, we're really starting to click. We're getting some guys healthy. We still didn't have our top corner back. He's going to be back in about a week. Our defensive tackle was still out. So we're looking at even getting way better here in the next couple weeks.
You didn't want to stump for your team until this game was over. For the selection committee watching today, what do you hope that they saw out of Miami football?
Complete dominance. You know, a team that just we've got great players in all phases, and we're playing great football in all phases. And you know what? The best part about football, you get to settle it on the field, where head-to-head is always the #1 criteria for anything regarding athletics and football.
I appreciate the time. Congratulations.
Go Canes.
Mario Cristobal, message delivered. 38-7 is the final. Miami over Pitt. For Louis Riddick and Chris Budden, I'm Bob Wischusen. Thanks so much for watching. We say so long for Pittsburgh. Back to the studio. Alongside Booger McFarland, here's Kevin Nagandi.
Bob, thank you